George of the jungle. George of the jungle.
Who faces danger with a smile.
George of the jungle.
Who put the croc in crocodile.
George of the jungle.
Who makes the tiger cringe and crawl by uttering his mighty call. It's the greatest swinger of them all. Oh!
George!
It's a well-known fact that all African elephants trumpet. It's a lesser-known fact that they all trumpet in the same key, F sharp. It's a very little-known fact that there's only one elephant in the world that trumpets in a different key, E flat. And that E flat elephant is the personal property of George of the jungle.
Up, Shep. Sit. Good dog.
George,
Oh, hi, fella.
for the last time, I am not a fella, and that isn't a dog. It's an elephant.
Me, George. You, Jane. Shep, puppy. Big, gray, peanut-loving puppy.
What makes you think so?
Speak, Shep. Jane here, E flat. All elephants have sharp. Roll over, Shep. No, Shep. Other way.
That's him, Rosie. E flat. The only one in the world.
Oh, Charlie, he must be worth millions.
Yeah. Just think, Rosie, if we can snatch him and sell him, we can get out of this lousy jungle and go someplace exciting to live.
Like where, Charlie?
Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady. Oh, Charlie, let's do it. Let's.
But the two renegades had been spotted by one of George's jungle friends who flew to his treehouse post-haste.
What'd he say, George?
Him say, awk, eek, tookie.
Meaning?
Charlie Fowler and African Rose here to steal elephants.
In that case, you'd better go and check the elephant herd.
Better yet, George, go check elephant herd.
How did you ever think of that?
Animal instinct. George have keen sense of survival. Come.
Oh, I thought you had a keen sense of survival.
True, but weak sense of direction.
Look there, Rosie. They left their precious pet unguarded.
Not quite, for inside the treehouse, Loyal Ape was catching up on his correspondence.
To His Exalted Majesty, the Maharaja of Raleigh-Pur. Dear Boo-Boo, I must say I disagree with your theory that pragmatic cognition presupposes. Oh, my sainted Aunt Nigugu, it's Charlie Fowler and African Rose.
Just then, the evil Fowler whipped out a deadly blowgun.
Charlie, dear, you're going to blow one of those cute little poison darts at him.
Not on your life, Rosie. They're expensive. This is just a cheap little tranquilizer pill.
Oh, Charlie, you're so resourceful.
I say. Butterscotch Milltown. My favorite flavor.
Hey, Jack, can we borrow your doggy for a while?
Well, actually, that's the world's only E-flat elephant worth a king's ransom. But, oh, I couldn't care less.
Okay, Jumbo, into the truck.
Meanwhile, back at the herd,
All elephants here. George, count them on fingers and toes.
How many are there?
23.
but just then the jungle messenger arrived excitedly.
What happened to Tookie Tookie?
Tookie.
Don't tell me somebody stole Shep.
Jane getting pretty good at Tookie. Come,
You swing through the trees, George. I'll walk.
George, go like wind.
Well, there's the docks just up ahead, Rose. We'll soon be on our way.
To Sagamuck.
Not Saugamuck, Schenectady.
Oh, say it again, Charlie.
Not Saugamuck. Oh, you know, sometimes I think we should have stayed on that riverboat.
But at that moment, who should come dashing to the rescue but Jane?
Who else? Nature Boy is still back there battling the strangler vines.
Now what do we do?
Wait for him. After all, he's the hero.
She's right, Rosie.
Anything you say, Charlie.
So all hands took a 15-minute break, at the end of which time...
George here to save faithful doggy.
Hands up, George of the Jungle. This is the end of the vine.
Oh, Charlie, that's very amusing.
Yeah, well, I had 15 minutes to think it up.
What will you do now, George?
No fear, Jane. George now call lions. Lions come and save Shep.
But you gave the cry of the woodpecker, George.
Well, somebody come. No look gift woodpecker in mouth.
Sure enough, within seconds, the busy woodpeckers had picked the cage to sawdust and freed Shep.
But not you, you jungle jerk.
Roll over, Shep. The other way, Shep.
George of the Jungle had triumphed again.
Charlie, did you hear that?
What was it?
F sharp.
F sharp? Well, that means that elephant's voice is changing.
Oh, George, we're losing our baby.
Well, you can have him, George. He's just like any other elephant now.
Not elephant. Shep, good doggy. Him come when I call. Him sit up. Him roll over.
Other way, Shep! Other way!
Everybody knows that the richest man in the world is Sheikh Ali Bey Window, Sultan of the oil-rich kingdom of Latamula. The Sheikh is renowned for two things, his enormous harem and his fabulous jewel collection. It's hard to tell which he admires more.
Old Arab proverb says, a woman doesn't remain beautiful forever, like a diamond. But can a diamond scratch your back where you can't reach? Down a little lower.
As you might suppose, the Sultan's palace is guarded like Fort Knox. Nevertheless, one dark night...
Halt! Who is there?
It's only I, Effendi, the icy pop man. You want icy pop?
What flavors you got?
Desert dessert, sand dune sherbet, shishka berry, and camel crunch.
One shishka berry, one camel crunch.
Coming up, Effendi.
But those ice cream bars weren't as innocent as they looked.
The knockout drops work, Plumtree. Come on out. They'll sleep for hours. Let's go.
And a short time later, at a guard post on the border...
By the bountiful beard of Ali Ben Blue, look,
A great magic bird.
do we shoot it down?
You flipped your fez. Magic bird season doesn't open till September.
Oh.
And the fleeing helicopter disappeared from view unscathed. Now you may well ask, what does all this have to do with George of the Jungle?
All right. What all this got to do with George of Jungle?
This, George, dear. Here's a telegram from the district commissioner. Request your help. Locate and return 300-pound pearl. Thought to be hidden Bwee Rubber Plantation. Your area. Signed, district commissioner.
Very odd. District Commissioner talked just like George.
A 300-pound pearl. That must be an amazing sight.
So must the oyster it came from.
District Commissioner need help? George, go.
Oh, I just knew you would.
Me too.
And so the gallant forest monarch, accompanied by his faithful ape, set forth to recover the 300-pound pearl, ever willing to support law and order.
Support your local district commissioner. Oh!
A few days later found them within sight of the Mbwibwi plantation, and vice versa.
Cooey, Titherage. It be George of the Jungle.
Already? It's a fast-moving plot, Plumtree.
What do we do now?
I have a plan to discourage him.
Aye, and what be it?
Look, I fly above George with a helicopter and drop a safe on him. Meanwhile, you shoot him 5 times with an elephant gun.
That be pretty discouraging, all righty.
Tetheridge to Plumtree. Tetheridge to Plumtree.
Go ahead.
I'm almost in position. Are you ready?
Already here, over and outie.
Then here goes.
Hush! George, here, twig snap.
Twig! Sounded to me like a safe falling on somebody, a gunshot, and a plane crash.
Very loud twig. Come.
And the Jungle Lord continued on his way unopposed except by an occasional tree. Once inside the deserted villa, George and Ape came across an enormous box.
Here it is, George. The label's in simple Aramaic. It says 300-pound pearl inside. Use no hooks.
We take it before bad men return.
It be a bit late for that, laddybuck. George, it's the 2 arch criminals, Tetheridge and Plumtree. They have us covered.
George, not know meaning of fear. Of course, George could learn.
It looked like the end of the jungle trail for our friends.
No worry, Ape. George now give jungle distress call. All George's jungle buddies rush to rescue. Elephants, water buffaloes, aardvarks, all.
What is the distress call, George?
It go...
Sure enough, instantly there was the rush and patter of thousands of tiny feet, and the room was suddenly filled with...
Termites! George, you called the termites! Are you sure that was the right call?
Right call? George must have got wrong area code.
Within moments, the greedy little nippers had gnawed the villa to the ground.
Enough of this nonsense. Ready? Aim.
But unseen by the villains, the huge box, weakened by the termite attack, began to split and crumble. And suddenly...
Aha!
Arf!
Shut me up in a box, will you? Hold me for ransom, will you? Is that any way to treat a lady? A refined, gentle, defenseless woman?
Good heavens!
Who you?
Me? I'm Pearl. 300-pound Pearl. The Sultan's favorite.
Well, it all turned out all right after all. The Sultan got back his 300-pound pearl.
Oh, sweetie!
And George got a handsome reward.
Rubies, emeralds.
You give all these for 1 pearl?
She is my pearl of great price. This lady is best back scratcher in all Latamula.
Ah, here it is. Distress call really go. See?
It was an African day like most African days, hot, humid, and miserable. An African daisy of a day. And George, king of the jungle, was surveying his domain from an air-conditioned treetop. Then suddenly...
Help! Someone call for help.
Help!
Correction, someone call for help. Courage! George, come! Help!
Seizing a nearby jungle vine, George swung lightly through the trees, into a rushing stream, and over a waterfall. A little while later, far downstream...
My, George, that was quick.
George, take shortcut.
I didn't know there was a shortcut.
Me too. Why Ursula scream?
Oh, George, it's Shep.
Shep. Good doggy, Shep. Up, boy. What's the matter, boy?
In the first place, George, he's not a puppy. He's an elephant.
Shep, puppy. Big, gray, peanut-loving puppy.
And in the second place, your puppy is ill.
Ew, but he was perfectly all right this morning. I saw him eating green pawpaw melons on the North 40.
George, why not call Africa's greatest witch doctor, Dr. Kilimanjaro?
And the worried trio gathered around Ape's large message drum.
What's his area code, Ape?
We don't need it. Fortunately, this drum is a direct line to the doctor's office.
A direct line?
Yes, I call it my tum-tum, tom-tom.
doctor. It's George of the jungle.
Tell him us witch doctors don't make house calls.
It isn't George. It's his doggy who is sick.
Oh, that's different. I never could resist a bow wow. That's a bow wow?
See? Doctors say Shep is bow wow. Big, gray, droopy nose bow wow.
4 years at Johns Hopkins for this. Well, let's take a look-see. Stick out your tongue. Not you, him. This looks like a tough case. Quick, I'll need 14 crocodile teeth, 3 fresh-plucked gaw feathers, and a leopard skin.
Uh-oh. Not in medicine chest.
And so the intrepid ape-man set out to get 14 crocodile teeth, 3 gaw feathers, and a leopard skin. First, he dangled a tempting tootsie over a crocodile-infested swamp.
Now George gets something to remove teeth.
Unfortunately, every crocodile in Africa is on to that old stick trick by this time.
This should do trick. Oh! What happened to stick? Oh, there it... Oh!
Hold still, George. I'm removing the last one now. Of course, pulling teeth is a little out of my line. There.
Oh! Ow!
Well, what do you know? 14 crocodile teeth, and they're beauties.
Now for the gaw feathers, George.
A few hours later, found the Jungle King climbing toward the nest of a 10-foot gaw, prehistoric remnant of a day when birds ruled the world. With jungle cunning, the ape-man inserted himself into the gaw nest to await the coming of the great mother bird. Unfortunately, gaw chicks live exclusively on earthworms and swamp moss.
What? You won't eat swamp moss? You're no kid of mine, kid.
And the great bird seized George in her talons, flew into the air, and dropped it. But during the trip, resourceful George had been able to pluck the 3 gaw feathers he needed.
George just lucky, I guess.
George, back so soon?
Yes, but these shortcuts killing me.
Oh, doctor, is it a crisis?
No, lady, that is a thermometer.
George, go get leopard skin now.
I don't want to sound like a smart aleck, George, baby, but you're wearing one.
But that's my leopard skin.
Look at it this way. Is a doggy man's best friend or not?
But, Doctor, Shep is an elephant.
Look, George thinks he's a dog. Shep thinks he's a dog. I think he's a dog. What are you, some kind of a troublemaker?
With that crushing argument, the matter was settled.
14 crocodile teeth, 3 gaw feathers, and the leopard skin. I think we can start to work. Get me plenty of hot water and some clean towels.
You going to operate?
No, I just want to freshen up a little.
But what about Shep?
Well, of course, I'm just a simple country witch doctor, but I'd say he just had a minor stomach upset. Too many green pawpaw melons. Drink this.
Heavens, what was that?
Well, of course, Shep is a doggy, but if he was an elephant, that would have been a burp.
And look, he's better.
Good dog, Shep. Fetch. Ooh.
But, Doctor, what about the crocodile teeth, the gaw feathers, and the leopard skin? Aren't they part of the cure?
Cure? These are the fees I'm charging you. How do I look?
Better than George.
You don't know the half of it, Georgie boy. Now, I'm just a simple country witch doctor, but I'd say those bushes you're wearing are poison ivy. So long, folks. I gotta go to a meeting of the Medical Ethics Committee.
Well, George fixed that chiseler. Get back crocodile teeth, gaw feathers, and leopard skin.
Yes, dear.
But you know something? For a simple country witch doctor, he cast a pretty good magic spell.
Well, it was a sorry day when Princess Elsa of Elsweria appeared at a grand ball wearing a tiara of bird feathers.
She's beautiful.
You kidding, Fritz? She's got a face only a mother could love. And heaven knows I find it difficult.
However, the bird feathers had a very strange effect. For to all the males present, Princess Elsa suddenly appeared to look like a movie star.
It's Liz.
It's Debbie.
It's Jaja.
It's Lassie.
Yes, this was indeed a sorry day.
You kidding? I should always be so sad.
But of course, every other woman at the ball was soon demanding a tiara of bird feathers.
I must have one, Fritz, or I'll die.
Is that a promise?
But feathers make me gorgeous. Look.
Ooh, you're regular Ingrid Fingerman. Buy it, buy it.
Yes, the demand was so great that the price of bird feathers skyrocketed. And so, far away in Africa, there was a stampede of hunters to the nesting grounds of the bird. In spite of no poaching signs, these savage Nimrods netted the dull-witted birds and mercilessly tweaked out their tail feathers one by one.
Ooh! Ooh, ooh!
Which, of course, explains how the bird got its name.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Not only was it painful, but without their tail feathers, the birds found it difficult to fly. Well, it didn't take long for the news to get to that protector of the innocent, defender of the weak, and all-around good guy, George of the Jungle.
What do the drums say, George?
Drums say boom, 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 boom.
But what do they mean?
Ursula, wait. George, go look it up.
In the dictionary?
No, in Drumptionary.
George, you keep forgetting we live in a tree.
At that moment, an exhausted bird staggered into the clearing.
George, George, the hunters are attacking us oohs.
George, you must stop them.
You bet, fella.
Fella?
George is a very simple man.
Nearsighted, too.
Think, George, you must think.
If Ursula insists, George, think.
Well, of course, that was a long, slow process.
Cry-yi. He's been sitting there for 3 days. You sure he's not dead?
Oh, no, he's thinking all right.
How could you tell?
Do you notice an odd kind of smell?
Yeah, like a smoldering bicycle tire.
But just then...
Topeka!
Eureka, dear.
By George, he's got it.
My George, he's got it.
George set wily jungle trap for cruel hunters.
Good idea. But what will you use for bait?
George of Jungle.
And the brawny ape-man set off through the jungle, swinging lightly from tree to tree to tree. A short time later, in the camp of the bird hunters... Let's knock off for lunch, Tiger. I be too pooped ter pluck.
Now, we can't stop, Weevil. We must make our haul before George of the Jungle finds out we're here.
Too late, for the canny Jungle King was peering at them at that very moment.
Now George set wily jungle trap.
Swiftly, the brawny ape-man bent a tree back and fastened it with a hair trigger. Then he dug a large pit in the middle of the path and lined the bottom with pointed stakes. Finally, he wove a huge net of jungle creeps.
Creepers.
Creepers, and hung it from a tree.
Now George ready for big scene.
Shh, Tiger. I be thinking I hear someat in yon bushes.
And probably a spangled fritillary calling to its mate.
No, looky there.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, Tiger, that be the biggest bird in the world.
And the ugliest.
After him, them tail feathers be worth a fortune. The two sneaks dashed after their prey, and George, hopping ahead, led them up the garden path toward his wily jungle trap. Unfortunately, he'd forgotten by this time exactly where it was.
George not forget. Trap right around here, somewhere. See? George not forget.
Cracky, Weevil. That's not an bird. It's what's his name of the jungle.
Time for us to make ourselves scarce, Tiger.
Righty-o.
Hey, you not leave George up here to starve to death.
Why not?
That pretty chicken thing to do to King of Jungle.
He's right, Weevil. Are we going to be chicken to the king of the jungle?
Sure. If there be one thing I like, it be chicken a la king. Ha 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 ha. But as the two heartless bird snatchers chortled meanly, the net of jungle creepers broke open at the bottom and...
They not make jungle creepers like they used to.
Well, George had the two villains trussed in a trice, and they were soon headed for the poacher Pokey.
But what will become of all those bird feathers?
Don't worry, I sold them.
For money?
No, for sneakers.
Sneakers?
If we can't fly, we gotta walk.
Ha 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 ha!
What's so funny, George?
Ho 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 ho! Chicken a la king!
One thing you can say about the Boondockie tribe. When they run amok, they really run amok. And this time they've got a doozy going, complete with 2 prisoners already.
Help! They're going to sacrifice us to the gorilla god. Help!
Oh, tough it out, Percy. The district commissioner's sure to hear of this and send troops to rescue us.
There's just one little hitch, madam.
The what?
I'm the district commissioner.
The help! Help!
The cries of the hapless pair reached the sensitive ears of faithful Shep, pet elephant of George of the jungle. Trumpeting shrilly, Shep dashed to the rescue, and in moments, the Boondockies had 3 prisoners. Fortunately, the ever-present Tookie Tookie Bird had seen all that happened and made a beeline, or bird line, for the palatial treehouse belonging to George of the Jungle, where Ursula was washing out a few things.
Please, wait for George's opening yell. Now.
What is it, dear?
Boondockie tribe running amok again.
That's the 3rd time this week. What about?
Television Nairobi showing old jungle movies again.
Oh, that always makes the natives restless.
This time they capture district commissioner.
George, you must do something.
Oh, Boondockies just like playful children, only with poison blowguns. What? Ship captured. George, go. Farewell.
Dear, remember, we live in a tree. George, get your foot out of my wash bucket.
No time for trifles, Max. Shep in trouble.
Max?
Screened by the heavy foliage from hostile eyes, the Jungle King slipped silently along the jungle trail. In a short time, George was perched on a sheer cliff overlooking the Boondockie village. Seizing a long vine, he flung himself downward. And in a few seconds, the Boondockies had 4 prisoners.
Hold it, Chief. We can't have 4 prisoners.
Why?
We run out of steaks. George has got to go now.
Thus it was that the mighty Jungle King was chosen as the first sacrifice to the fearsome gorilla god, Ungawa.
Look, it's a statue of an enormous man-eating gorilla 10 feet tall.
There's just one hitch, madam.
What?
That's not a statue.
Oh, too true, too true.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 falls to finish for the Jungle Weight Championship of Africa. In this corner of the clearing, at 8,267 pounds, the great Angola. And in this corner at 198 pounds, not counting the bucket, George of the Jungle.
What George win if he beat Ongawa?
We all agree that you're the king of the jungle.
What Ongawa get if he win?
He get you.
He'll destroy you.
Nonsense. George beat him with one hand tied behind back.
Unfortunately, old man, you have both hands tied behind your back.
That make it tougher, all righty.
And the fierce man-eater raised George high above his head and dashed him to the ground.
Oh! That's smart.
The first round goes to Angola.
But as fate would have it, George had landed within a trunk's length of faithful Shep. Using the sensitive tip of his trunk like a set of fingers, the prehensile pachyderm untied the knots which bound his master.
Shep not prehensile pachyderm. Shep good doggy.
George, your hands are free.
Go get him, handsome.
First, George, get bucket off foot.
But while George struggled with the bucket, Ungawa attacked again.
And there's a Nairobi knee drop. Ooh, the Tanganyika twist. And a Kenya karate chop. And Ungawa uncorks that Somali smash.
George, do something.
George already do something.
What?
Got bucket off foot.
Look out!
Where?
Then as the fearless jungle lord waited for Ungawa's charge, the wily witch doctor crept up behind him and administered a massive six-match African hotfoot.
The winner and star champion, George of the Jungle.
Oh, is that your famous victory cry, George?
No, hotfoot still hurt.
If there's one thing that's certain in Africa, it's an occasional pygmy uprising.
Sure. When you're as little as we are, there's no way to go but up.
These little guys mean big trouble for the district commissioner.
Get me George of the jungle. Quick.
George, here.
What took you so long?
Couldn't get express fine. Had to take local.
George, I'm having trouble with my pygmies.
George, fix.
What are you doing?
Rub commissioner's foot.
Not piggies. I'm having trouble with my pygmies.
Pretty bad bunion there.
Listen, George.
And the commissioner told George the strange story of the pygmy uprising. It all began in this tailor shop run by Tiny Tony Tuxedo, the tip-top tailor of Tanganyika. Little did anyone suspect that in his off hours, Tony was also the kingpin of African crime, Little Scissor.
Ah, that's me, Little Scissor. What's wrong with being little, huh? Napoleon was little. Julius Caesar was little. Genghis Khan was little. Orphan Annie was little. Now, you big guys have had it, see? Us little guys are going to take over now. Right, fellas?
Right, boss!
Misled by Tiny Tony Tuxedo, a gang of diminutive desperados had taken advantage of their small size to infiltrate neighboring villages and make off with all the available livestock.
Round 'em up, hit 'em out, round 'em up, hit 'em out, round 'em up, hit 'em out, raw hen.
Becoming bolder, Tiny Tony's terrible tots invaded the city and intercepted 2 bank messengers. The guards reached for their pistols.
Stop or I'll shoot.
Bang, bang, bang. Click, click.
Heck, I'm out of ammunition.
What's more, the district jails wouldn't hold the malefactors who were caught, for they kept escaping by slipping through the bars.
Yeah, this is only the beginning, you guys. Stick with Tony and we'll rule all of Africa. Yeah. Commissioner got problem, all right.
I'm glad you see that, George.
Yes, this little piggy got ingrown toenail.
George, give me back my foot and get going after Tiny Tony.
George, here. And oh boy.
That's obey.
Whatever.
Does look a bit inflamed at that.
Riding his faithful elephant Shep and accompanied by his faithful ape, George approached the pygmy territory. Suddenly...
All right, reach, you guys. Who, you? Me? I'm king of the pygmies, is who?
How did you ever get to be king of the pygmies?
'Cause I'm a big man, that's why.
But you just a shrimp.
Now, to you, I'm a shrimp. To them, I'm Wilt the Stilt.
District commissioner say, bring you in.
We'll see what my boys have to say about that.
Careful, George.
Those are blowguns. Each one is loaded with a poison dart.
Well, that demonstration proved too much for faithful Shep. He fainted. Fortunately for the principles of truth and justice and George, he fainted right on the pygmy gang.
Well, maybe my gang has given up, but not me. I'm going to use strategy, see?
What strategy?
I'm going to run like a rabbit.
The little criminal took off like a shot, but he hadn't reckoned on George's fantastic knowledge of jungle trails.
Sure. Cute.
That's shortcut, George.
Funny. That's what signs say, too.
But in his turn, George hadn't figured on Tiny Tony Tuxedo's shears.
Ah, they don't call me Little Scissor for nothing, you know.
Then the mean little thief planted himself at the foot of a banyan tree for a last-ditch defense. Without hesitation, Mighty George seized a stout vine and launched himself straight at the little kingpin of crime.
And this is where my strategy comes in, see?
Whipping out his most deadly shears, Little Scissor aimed them straight at the oncoming George.
Uh-oh.
But Little Scissor hadn't taken one thing into account. George missed. And so shortly, Little Scissor found himself behind bars.
Commissioner put him in jail?
No. I had to find a place with much smaller bars.
You mean?
Yes, a playpen.
Oh, it's not so bad, you guys. I've only got 3 years to go. Yeah. Silly for little shrimp like that to hope to rule all Africa.
Oh, I don't know, George. Napoleon was little. Alexander the Great was little. Genghis Khan was little. Orphan Annie was very little. And then there was...
Okay, you mugs. There's the treehouse. I'll lasso the ape out, and you clobber him. Got it?
You saw it, Buana.
Here goes.
What I always say, George, is...
Funny way to say goodbye.
That's enough. Into the truck with him.
You saw it, Buana. Ape was dumped unceremoniously into a closed van and carted off through the jungle. Then, 3 days later at supper...
George, don't you notice something different?
Ursula got new hairdo?
No, George, it's Ape.
Ape got new hairdo?
Ape is gone.
Didn't think his hair looked different.
He's been ape-napped. You must rescue him.
George, go.
Don't forget where we live, dear.
George, remember, we live in tree. Very high tree. Farewell, Ingrid.
Ingrid? George, it's Ursula. Ursula!
Ursula to you too, Ingrid. Tire tracks go that way. George, take shortcut. Jungle intuition. Never wrong. Oh! Sometimes painful, but never wrong.
But let us move some miles away to the headquarters of Claude Badley, the world's meanest animal trapper.
Yes, I bring him back alive, but miserable.
Claude was in the middle of an earnest confab with the big television producer, Ernest Confab.
I paid you $50,000 for a trained ape for my new TV series, Badley. Where is it?
There he is, Mr. Confab, your new star. Come on, act for Mr. Confab.
What's my motivation? That's it. If I were king, oh, what treasures at your feet I'd fling.
Hold it. Hold it. I'm doing a jungle series. You gotta act like a real ape.
I don't have to act, old boy. I am an ape.
Well, you don't act like it.
Meanwhile, back in the jungle...
Well, which way, Tookie Tookie bird?
Tookie Tookie.
That left Tookie or right Tookie?
Tookie Tookie.
Very well. George, go. Oh!
Okay, now, let's see you make some funny faces.
Never.
But all monkeys make funny faces.
You know, like this. Bleh! Bleh!
Disgusting. But rather cute. Blah, blah.
Meanwhile, back in the jungle, wait, that's the Sahara Desert.
Maybe George should turn left between Ik and Tuki.
Now, let's see some real action. You know, jump up and down and scream like a regular TV monkey.
You must be mad.
Not yet, but I'm getting there. Look, like this. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Hey, that's not bad.
I thought it lacked sincerity.
Oh, yeah? Let's see you do better.
And the terrified ape was forced to leap up and down like a
terrified ape, that's what.
But help was approaching the long way round.
This way, George, sneak up on them from behind.
He'll do. Have him on a set tomorrow. If you fail badly, you'll never work in TV again.
You'll have your ape if I have to scare him within an inch of his life, Mr. Confab. I may do it anyway. Sort of sounds like fun.
Ape was returned to his miserable cell, but just outside...
Ape there?
Yes, George, I'm here. Stop that dreadful racket. Where have you been?
You name it.
And George made ready to swing to the rescue.
Wait. Let's make sure you swing down accurately this time, George. Now let's see. Pi times the cosine of AB squared. Little farther to your right. Extract the square root, 7.3. All right, George, go. Or is it 7.2? Yes, 7.2.
In no time at all, George and Ape were sharing a cell. It was then that Ape's fertile brain remembered a source of rescue still open to them. Shep, George's faithful elephant.
Quick, George, give your elephant call.
12 hours later, they were still waiting.
I can't understand it. Why doesn't Shep come?
George not called Shep.
You gave your elephant call.
But Shep is doggy.
He's an elephant.
Big, gray, peanut-loving Poochie. Watch. Here, Shep. Here, boy.
And immediately down the jungle trail came the welcome patter of tiny feet.
Full bars, Shep. Full bars.
George, the bars aren't coming out. Shep isn't strong enough.
Oh, no? Look.
Sorry about that, Mr. Confab.
Just remember, you deliver me a trained ape tomorrow, or you're washed up.
But
Well, as they say, the show must go on. And so the new television program, The Man from Mbwibwi, did star an ape that made funny faces, jumped up and down, and screamed.
Bleh! Bleh!
Ungawa. That ape really clawed badly. World's meanest animal trapper.
Just goes to prove, George. Fool around with those television people, and they'll make a monkey out of you every time.
You ferret, Buana.
The district commissioner's proudest boast was the Nairobi and Grand Trunk Railway, which opened up the inner fastness of the jungle.
It's a wizard way to go, gentlemen.
Good heavens, Carruthers! What's that?
Appears to be an ape of some sort.
It doesn't seem smart enough for an ape.
It's George of the jungle. What is it, George?
Steel track, Commissioner! Steel track!
Yes, George. Steel track is what makes it ride so smooth. What happened?
George say already. Somebody steel track.
It was true. Some evil miscreant had made off with 25 miles of railroad track, leaving only a barren swath through the jungle.
Our railroad is missing. What is it, George?
Steel track. George make joke.
Please, George. There's only one man in all Africa whose evil mind could conceive of such a dastardly crime.
Ladislaus Proznicki.
Ladislaus Proznicki?
It was first name that came to mind.
No, I mean our local mad scientist.
You mean that dentist fella from Illinois who turned to a life of crime?
Yes, Dr. Chicago.
That's me, Dr. Chicago. So they're on to me, are they? Well, I'll be ready for them.
First, we must find out how he's stealing the railroad tracks.
Steel tracks.
Oh, stop it, George. It's my guess he'll try to get the rest of them.
Commissioner, right. There go one now.
George, that rail is stealing itself.
Steel track. Steel track. Oh!
George, grab the next rail that goes by.
George did, and made an amazing discovery. The rail was being carried by one large African ant.
Stand back.
But when the commissioner tried to step on the tiny thief...
He judoed me.
Hey, why you don't pick on somebody your own size?
Follow that ant. Not too closely.
His superb jungle training allowed George to track the ant through the thick underbrush until they came to a large clearing.
George, look. Those super ants are using my rails to help build an impregnable fortress.
Yes, a fortress from which I, Dr. Chicago, will rule the world.
Come, George. We're going to get to the bottom of this in a hurry.
Commissioner, right. We get to bottom and hurry.
Quick, George. Call for help before they seal us off.
Unfriendly ants put us here. George called friendly ants to save us.
Good idea.
Sure enough, high above in the clearing, there was a rustling in the underbrush, and two friendly ants emerged.
Hello, Jemima. May, what a lovely hat.
Unfortunately, George had called the wrong kind of friendly ant.
And now, since you won't be around to see it happen, I shall reveal my secret plan.
I just knew you would.
In this flask is the world's total supply of my invention. Concentrated essence of elephant.
Concentrated essence of elephant?
It gives any creature the strength of 100 powerful pachyderms. Watch.
And Dr. Chicago fed a tiny drop of the extract to a hummingbird.
Oh, I can see it all now. Ants that can mop up a marine. Beetles that can take on a tank. Mosquitoes that can pulverize a plane. And this ruler of the world, that little old kingmaker, me.
What are you laughing at?
Steel tracks.
Now, I shall feed essence of elephant to the centipede and watch him stomp you to death.
George, we've got to do something.
All righty. How this for openers?
Well done, George. Now swat the doctor.
Too late. The sly fiend had made his escape and was heading for the roof where a helicopter waited to whisk him away.
He left a few drops of essence of elephant. Drink it, George. Now, how do we get out of here?
This way.
But there's no door.
Now there is.
In a few moments, our friends were outside.
Ta-ta, gentlemen. I shall continue my plan in some other district.
How we stop him?
Use your head, George.
Right.
Well done, George. The fortress is ruined.
Me too.
Now rebuild railroad.
With these rails, they're bent hopelessly out of shape.
But Super George wouldn't take no for an answer. Using the bent and twisted rails, he single-handedly constructed what is today one of Africa's most popular tourist attractions, the Nairobi and Grand Trunk Scenic Railway.
But this railroad goes nowhere.
I know, but it's such a thrill getting there.
So the essence of elephant was used to benefit mankind.
Yes. Now George hungry.
Well, what would you like, dear? Buffalo steak? Antelope chops?
You got any peanuts?
The worst climate in Africa is found here in the Bambashuti Valley, which has an annual rainfall of 100 inches per day. But today the sun is shining brightly, and it beats down on a fearful sight. That is Ursula, wife of George of the Jungle, tied to a stake in the Bumbashuti village, and you know what that means.
We ain't playing Ringalivio, Jack.
Why are you doing this frightful thing?
Lady, it hasn't rained here for almost 24 hours. We figure the great Juju has got a mad on for some reason. Ergo, we gotta make a sacrifice.
Will sacrificing me bring rain?
Maybe not. But what else are you gonna do on a hot Wednesday? You got a match on you?
But nothing much escapes the sharp eyes of the Tookie bird, and he flew off to carry the news to George of the Jungle.
Hold it, Leon. What, that? Tookie. Tookie? Tookie. You kidding? Hey, come quick.
What is it, George?
Birds say, ik, tookie.
Ursula? Captured by the Bumbashutis?
Yes. Question is...
What do we do?
No, who is Ursula?
George, Ursula is your wife.
Wife?
Your mate, George.
Oh, him.
Her. And you must go to her rescue.
First, call faithful Shep. Here, Shep. Good doggy. Here, boy. Come, we go rescue, what's his name?
Ursula.
Same time tomorrow, Leon. We pick it up where we left off.
Tookie. Yes, isn't he?
Patience, folks. This wood is terribly wet.
Don't you know that all I have to do is raise my voice to call George of the Jungle?
Who's he?
You don't know about George of the Jungle?
The TV reception here is terrible, sweetie. It's the wet wood.
But at that moment...
I'll tell you something. The great Juju ain't gonna like this one bit.
I hate to spoil your fun, dear, but shouldn't we escape now?
Oh, all righty. Here, Shep. Shep.
Mighty George had done it again. Once more his victory cry rang out over the jungle. But George had momentarily forgotten the first law of survival in the jungle. Never stand up on a running elephant.
Back, Shep! Go back!
It was no use. Shep was headed for the barn and couldn't be stopped. George, on the other hand, could.
The show will continue in just a moment, folks, with a slight change in the cast.
Why you do this?
Do I have to explain the plot twice? Very well. We're making a sacrifice to the great Juju so he'll give us rain.
Suppose George make it rain.
You're putting me on, right? What are you, some kind of Juju? Okay, you got 5 minutes. Either you make it rain, or it's goodbye, Charlie.
And drawing upon his great secret jungle lore, the ape-man set about bringing rain to the Bumbashuti village.
First, George bombard clouds with rocks. Clouds cry, make rain.
Oh, boy.
George fired, and sure enough, it rained. Rocks.
You got 3 minutes.
Swiftly, George used every surefire trick in the book to make it rain. He set out a picnic lunch. All he got was ants. He paraded in a brand new hat. All he got was compliments.
It's you.
He organized a doubleheader baseball game.
This always bring rain.
He got a shutout, but no rain. In desperation, he even polished the chief's limousine to a high gloss.
No what? No rain. Well, on with the sacrifice.
But the witch doctor still couldn't get the fire lit.
Well, maybe some other time.
No, maybe some other way.
Like what?
Like blowing you to smithereens with this here dynamite.
Smithereens? That anywhere near Nairobi?
But first, let's get you away from the middle of town.
The angry Bumbashutis took George to a high cliff overlooking the village.
Everybody, see all right down there? Good.
Taking up a safe position on the bank of the Mbwibwi River, the witch doctor prepared to sacrifice George.
Oh, great Juju, let us have a little rain, even if it just rains George of the Jungle.
Does the mighty Jungle King still have one trick up his sleeve?
George not even have sleeve, just muscle. See?
With his his arms free, George grabbed for the dynamite and tipped it over out of reach. But the steep hillside caused the can to roll downhill right to the bank of the Mbwibwi River.
This one is on me, oh great Jojo.
That explosion did more than get rid of the evil witch doctor. It blocked the Mbwibwi River, which then took a new course, right over the cliff above the Bumbashuti village.
Now that's what I call a real George rain.
Glad you like it, Chief.
Now us Bumbashutis can go back to our normal way of life.
Doing what?
Complaining about the weather.
As a reward for his services, George was made honorary witch doctor of the Bumbashuti tribe.
Yes, this my badge of office.
What is it, George?
Very powerful charm. Keep polar bears away.
Don't be ridiculous, George. There are no polar bears within 10,000 miles of Africa.
Sure. See how well it works? Onkawa, that honest to Elizabeth treasure map, Commissioner?
Yes, George, a real treasure map, and nobody knows I have it. Of course, somebody might suspect I have it.
Oh, drat. You missed him, Weevil.
Aye, Tiger. I should have used me trusty elephant gun.
Nonsense. That's just for shooting trusty elephants.
True.
But we must get that map. Come on.
George, let's get out of here.
Okie dokie. We take little used shortcut to treehouse. Come.
George, that shortcut almost killed us.
Uh-huh. That's why it's so little used.
You're sure you have it all straight now, Weevil?
Aye, matey. You plant yon dynamite under George's treehouse, right?
Right.
Then you gives me the signal, like that. Right?
Right.
And I pushes down the handle like this. Right.
Wrong.
And you're sure that map is genuine?
I paid 98 cents and a string of blue donkey beads for it. My favorite beads, too. Brought out the color of my eyes.
What is the treasure?
Shh. It's the treasure of Sarah Madre.
Commissioner means Sierra Madre.
No, Sarah Madre, an old school chum of mine. Owner of a secret gold mine. Disappeared in the jungle years ago. Hasn't been seen since. A lost gold mine in the jungle? The odds are 1,000 to 1 against you, old boy.
You forget, Ape. He's taking George with him as a guide.
Oh, in that case, make it 1,000,000 to 1.
Nevertheless, next day, the commissioner and George set out aboard Faithful Shep.
According to the map, we should be approaching Balancing Rock.
Then we right on course. Look.
Ready, Weevil? 1, 2, 3.
Map say we must go through impenetrable jungle.
Impenetrable, George?
Whatever. That's pretty impenetrable, all righty.
How can we possibly get through?
Call Faithful Shep. Here, Shep. Good doggy.
George, Shep isn't a doggy.
Watch. Here, Shep. Fetch a stick, Shep.
I say, he is a good doggy, isn't he?
Following the trail made by Faithful Shep, our heroes pressed forward through the impenetrable jungle.
Impenetrable.
Whatever.
We're almost there. All we have to do is...
Yes, but that's not as easy as it sounds. Where he go? Oh, there he go.
George, I've been robbed. Those ruffians stole my map.
What ruffians?
Us ruffians.
You really from Ruffia?
On your way, for I blast you.
Good heavens! An earthquake!
Not quite. It was Faithful Shep who had wrapped his trunk around the trunk and was shaking the tree.
Pat up, boy, Shep. Shake it up, boy.
Weevil, that's a trusty elephant. Use your trusty elephant gun.
Good idea. Me trusty elephant gun missed him. You don't suppose he's really a doggy, do you?
I can't answer questions while I'm running.
But you bean't running.
Now I am.
George, capture them.
Never mind, George.
Well, if you insist.
Look at this cave. It must be the hiding place of the treasure of Sarah Madre. Eureka!
Ungawa.
Eureka means I have found it.
Ungawa means it dark in there.
It's the end of the trail.
Well, it might be at that, for on a nearby cliff above the raging Mbwibwi River.
Hurry, Weevil.
This here be hard work, Tiger. I thought this were supposed to be a horse-drawn cannon.
I did draw it. I didn't say I was going to pull it.
Bye-bye, Georgie boy.
Well, it looked bad for our friends, but just then...
It's a shower of gold. The treasure of Sarah Madre. We're rich, rich.
Too bad you have so little time to enjoy it. Ready? Aim!
Good heavens, it's Sarah Madre herself. Sarah!
Alistair, I didn't know you without your blue donkey beads.
What happened?
You just blew off the back of my safe deposit vault, sweetie.
This not your gold mine?
Just the rear entrance.
Where front entrance?
Right there.
Mother Madre's Pizza Palace. Sky-high malts?
Where gold mine?
You're looking at it, Buster. The only pizza palace in Central Africa. That's really a gold mine.
Too bad, Commissioner. Let's go.
I may just stay, George. Sarah has beauty, grace, charm, and a vault full of gold. What else could a man ask for?
2 cheeseburgers with French fries.
Well, yes, I suppose you're right.
And meanwhile, back at the raging Mbwibwi River...
Those crocodiles are gaining, Weevil. Can't you swim any faster than that?
Actually, yes. But that ruddy cannon keeps holding me back.
Our hero, George, faces many dangers in his life as king of the jungle. For one thing, the jungle is full of trees. Then there are snarling leopards. Not to mention the crosstown traffic. With all these things, do you think it's fair that he should have to tangle with a mad scientist?
No! Yes, it is I, Dr. Chicago. And have I got a Lulu of a mad scientist gimmick this time?
The evil genius dashed to his waiting plane and took off. Within minutes, he was flying over Mbwibwi province. The Bombay doors opened, and out fell... seeds?
Oh, boy! What seeds?
One of the first to notice the seeds was George of the Jungle.
Oh! Somebody up there like me.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
This being a short episode, the seed grew very quickly. Then later that night...
George, somebody's at the window. That thing is stealing my purse. George, we must get to the bottom of this, and quickly.
Right. That quick enough?
But George wasn't the only victim. All over Mbwibwi province, people had planted Dr. Chicago seeds with horrendous results. A sweet potato plant was discovered raiding a refrigerator late at night.
Okay, Louie, drop the leg of lamb.
A dahlia planted on a curbside was arrested for breaking open parking meters.
How are you going to arrest a dahlia?
I'm going to transplant it into the paddy wagon.
A light-fingered morning glory tied up the bank president and proceeded to open the bank vault. Naturally, the district commissioner called on George for help.
George, these depredations must cease.
Right, but first we stop robberies.
I suppose you're right. What I can't figure out is where these flowers get rid of the things they steal.
Hollyhock shop, maybe?
Out! Out!
Meanwhile, back at the treehouse...
Okay, Bean Blossom. Go in there and steal George's most prized possession. No, not his rhinestone yo-yo. His mate.
But the mad doctor hadn't reckoned on the sharp-eyed Tookie bird.
Eat, Tookie. Steal rhinestone yo-yo and Ursula? That's infuriating.
Dr. Chicago has made off with your true love?
Yes, rhinestone yo-yo. What's an Ursula?
That's your mate, George.
Oh, that long-haired fellow who never shave?
That's the one, and you must rescue her.
And Yo-Yo.
And Yo-Yo, yes.
George, go.
Meanwhile, in Bui province was in a turmoil. Angry householders tried to get rid of the plants, but to no avail.
Let go, you stupid Sansevieria!
Through it all zipped the jet scooter of Dr. Chicago, collecting all the loot and storing it in his secret jungle hideout.
How about that, gorgeous? 100 grand in cash, an original fake Rembrandt. Soon I'll own everything in Bui province but the kitchen sink. I spoke too soon.
But at that moment, high above in the banyan trees, George of the Jungle was hurtling along with split-second precision timing.
As we say in Swahili, oop.
George, you found Dr. Chicago.
I have?
But you must still get by my bodyguard. My very own man-eating plant bodyguard, Strangler McVine. Sick 'em, Strangler.
And Strangler McVine threw a clammy tendril around George's gozle and squeezed off his air.
Friends, have you ever had your gozle squeezed by a clammy tendril? Ooh, it's awful.
George, you must call for help.
George, try.
A poor excuse for a distress call, George.
But at that moment, there arose a loud droning sound, and a dark shadow swept over the mad scientist's lair.
George, look, it's the 7-year locusts.
Funny, George called for aardvarks.
Yes, and those 7-year locusts were hungry. Seeing the huge bounty of Dr. Chicago's quick-growing plants beneath them, they peeled off in dining formation. Wherever they were able, Dr. Chicago's plundering plants beat a hasty retreat. Within a few hours, every one of them was done for.
George, you've won.
No, tell me. Tell him.
That plant must have a weak spot somewhere, George. Perhaps it's ticklish.
George, try. Kitchy, kitchy, kitchy.
More, George.
Coochie, coochie, coochie.
Stop that idiot laughing and get back to man-eating.
And the plant did just that.
What is it you say in Swahili?
Oop.
Thank you. Oop.
A fine job, George. We've been saved from Dr. Chicago's green leafy bandits.
Got Yo-Yo back, too. Also, what's her name?
Unfortunately, your little friends, the 7-year locusts, have eaten everything in sight. You owe the Mbwibwi government $3,000 and a pair of pants.
Pair of pants?
Your insect buddies chewed the breeches off of one of our leading citizens.
George, get pants right away.
Do hurry, George. There's a nasty draft.
One of the most sought-after men in the world lives here in the little African village of Yuanabaya. It is the famous gallstone specialist and tin flute virtuoso, Dr. Alfred Spritzer.
Hello, folkses.
So expert is Dr. Spritzer that in one afternoon, he can perform 27 gallstone operations.
Next.
And still have time for 3 choruses of Here We Go, Loopy-Loo. For his good works, he has been decorated by the heads of many governments.
And so, Dr. Spritzer, in conferring this award on you, I have one last thing to say.
What's that, Your Majesty?
I've got this funny pain right in through here.
Small wonder, then, that the world was shocked to hear that on his way back to Yuanabaya, Dr. Spritzer's plane had crashed on Gonna Take a Peek.
What crashed? My plane is flying straight and level.
Let that be a lesson, Doctor. Never monkey around with a narrator.
Dr. Spritzer must be found, George. I need a man who knows every foot of Mbwibwi province.
Commissioner, come to right fella.
Do you know every foot of the province, George?
Sure. They're elephant foot, lion foot, antelope foot.
Hoof, hoof.
Gesundheit. Leopard foot, out?
Out! Out!
And George hastily set out on his most dangerous assignment, scaling lofty Gonna Take a Peek,
George, was it necessary to bring faithful Shep along?
George need big-nosed doggy to track down lost doctor.
Sooner or later you must face facts, George. Shep is more of the pachyderm persuasion.
Package.
He's an elephant.
Shep, doggy. Watch. Jump over stick, Shep. Nice try, boy.
But as our friends struggled upward, a pair of beady eyes was watching them through a sinister-looking mask. Then the mysterious figure pried loose a giant boulder and sent it hurtling down the path toward them. But the sharp-eyed jungle lord spotted it and uttered his warning cry.
That was a close one, George.
Never fear. George always alert to danger, and... That you, Shep?
Undaunted, our friends continued on, led by faithful Shep and his sensitive snoot. But their mysterious assailant was still present and sprinkling pepper on the trail ahead.
No, Shep! Well, this is a fine mess.
Glad ape like it. Pull, Shep. Go, boy. Other way, boy.
But it takes a lot to discourage men like George. However, at Old Shaky Rope Bridge, a pair of cunning hands were setting fire to the cables in the middle.
Look, bridge being burned by pair of Cunninghams.
That's cunning hands.
Whatever. We must cross before bridge burns.
But that bridge will never hold faithful Shep, George.
Ape right. George have to carry him.
But... Oh, never mind. Let's go.
In a trice, Ape had scampered across the burning bridge. George followed more slowly, held back by Shep's enormous weight.
Gotta cut down on those sweets, fella.
Then, right in the middle...
Look out!
But the mighty ape man held that span together until faithful Shep got across. Then he let go with his toes and lightly swung to safety. Almost.
You think maybe somebody not want us to find Dr. Spritzer?
Nonsense, George. Everybody wants us to bring back the You Wanna Buy a Duck.
Not quite everybody. For just ahead on the trail, that sinister figure was setting still another trap.
George, what's that on the trail ahead?
Not a head, that a hat.
But as George picked it up...
Mustn't jump up on people, Shep.
This is Dr. Spritzer's hat, George. He can't be far away.
Sure enough, at that moment, our heroes heard...
Come.
Great Juju! That creature has stolen the doctor's tin whistle, too.
Uncoiling his rope of many crazy grasses, the ape man dropped it over the fanciful mask and tugged, revealing...
Who else? Dr. Spritzer himself.
How did you know it was me?
Face not familiar, but George never forget a flute.
But you'll never take me back. Never, never. Oop.
But why don't you want to return to You Wanna Buy a Duck?
Because this is the first vacation I've had in 10 years. 10 years of looking at gallstones. 10 years of people saying, I got this funny pain right in through here. I couldn't stand it anymore.
Overworked?
Overacted.
And so Dr. Spritzer was returned to his adoring patients on Medicine Avenue. But thanks to George of the Jungle, he now works on gallstones only 50 weeks a year. Then he hops in his plane, flies to Gonna Take a Peek, and crashes for his 2-week vacation.
Just once. Couldn't I land regular? I know. Never fool around with a narrator.
And each year, George of the Jungle rescues him and drags him back to his profession.
Well, Dr. Spritzer, all's well that ends well, right?
I suppose so.
Just one thing. I've got this funny pain right in through here. What'd I say? What'd I say?
Our story opens in a miserable hut in the Bumbashooty village, where the evil witch doctor is casting a magic spell.
Oh, great Juju, destroy George of the Jungle. Destroy him, I say. Burn him with everlasting fire. Kabosh!
What happened, Doc?
I'm out of practice, that's what.
How come?
'Cause nobody asks for black magic anymore. Anybody wants anything done, they go to that creep, George of the Jungle. I haven't had a client in 3 weeks.
What's that?
It's George. Nice of you to drop in, George. What's that you got?
George Rescue Explorer from Headhunters.
And he looks like a live one. How many tookies you charging him?
No charge. George Rescue for freezies.
For freezies? Ooh, that's awful. They're taking advantage of you, George.
But
you're more important than that. You're big time, Georgie boy.
No kid.
I got it. I'll be your agent.
Agent?
For 10%, I'll get you all the rescue business you can handle. Big stuff. And how the tookies will roll in.
Evil witch doctor got deal.
Easy. That's my spell-casting hand.
And so, surprisingly, the evil witch doctor became George's agent.
I figure if you can't whup him, join him. Then whup him.
Next day, it began.
Oh!
Pardon me, sir. I hate to interrupt when you're all tied up, but here's my card.
Oh!
Rescues Incorporated. If you're ever in trouble, call Angawa, 8300. Outside the metropolitan area, call Bigelow, 2, 8300.
I think I'm in trouble right now.
Oh, good, good. I'll get hold of George. Angawa, 8300.
George, will you answer the bird?
George speaking. Right away. Big deal cooking. George, go. Oh! George, here.
Now, you see that? Service. George, baby, Mr. Toodlehunter here seems to have a problem.
He also got snake wrap around him. What problem?
Well, it's too hot to go around wearing a heavy snake like that.
Right. George, take it off.
Wait. You realize this will cost 200 tookies?
Okay. Here.
Not you, stupid. Him.
Oh.
Anything. Yes, just get this thing off me.
Go ahead, George.
See? Now George got plenty tookies to put in tookie jar.
I can't say I approve of charging people for... how many tookies?
20.
20? That's only 10% of the fee, George.
That agent deal, 10%.
But that 10% is supposed to go to the agent.
You mean he get it all?
Oh, I give up.
Well, Rescues Incorporated was an immediate success. The bird was ringing day and night.
Man sinking in quicksand. Right.
Oh, how can I ever thank you?
With 500 tookies is how. Right here.
Lion got lady up tree. George, come.
Wow.
Sorry, Leon.
Of course, Rescue Incorporated will take a check. Just add 100 tookie service charge.
Man, trap on giant anthill? Okay. This giant ant pretty tough. George could use little help.
I'm doing my part, Georgie boy. I'm counting. 1001, 1002.
But rescuing day and night began to tell on George.
Leopard, dragging man to lair. George, come.
You can't keep this up, George. You're ruining your health.
Nonsense. George, strong as...
Meanwhile, at the evil witch doctor's brand new palatial mansion...
Uh-huh. Giant gorilla stealing your wife, huh? You sure you want to stop him? I'm just joshing. Well, it sounds like a 2,000 tookie job to me. Yeah, I'll get right on it. Get to me Angawa, 8300.
Ape speaking. Sorry, George can't be disturbed.
But it's a 2,000 tookie job, and if he doesn't do it, I'll have to, and I'll get all the tookies. Who needs George?
So the tookie-mad witch doctor, like many of us, figured, who needs George? And started out to perform his own rescues. He had forgotten that a fool and his tookies are soon parted.
Now, wait. I demand my constitutional rights. I get to make one bird call. Quick, Angawa, 8300.
Gorilla got witch doctor? Need rescue? How many tookies? Not enough. All turkeys. Better. George, come.
And within moments, George was defeating another mortal enemy.
It's amazing what a little tookie can do.
His tookie jar now filled to overflowing, George dismissed his agent and returned to rescuing people for freezies.
But if I got a spell to cast on that George, he'll rue the day, believe me. Uja buja, such a lot of bourgeois. Kabar! No doubt about it. I gotta get more practice.
Our story opens today under the big top of Ring-a-Ding Brothers Circus.
Ring-a-Ding Brothers presents, for the first time anywhere, the great fettuccine in a death-defying triple somersault into a damp handkerchief.
1, 2, 3. Ooh.
Uh-oh. He missed the handkerchief.
Hey, that does it. I'm a quit.
How come, Fettuccine?
Because of that hurt. You didn't tell me it was gonna hurt.
Well, I guess we get a new trapeze act.
Don't be silly. Where are we going to find anybody else stupid enough to try a triple somersault into a damp handkerchief?
Of course. George of the Jungle.
And so it was that those two arch criminals, Tiger and Weevil, soon had a new nefarious scheme to carry out.
Neat, eh, Tiger? For shipping George of the Jungle to the new 90s stage, we gets 10,000 clams.
I'd still rather be paid in real money.
Arr, money can be traced, changed.
So can 10,000 clams, especially at low tide.
Meanwhile, unaware of the impending danger, the jungle monarch surveyed his tropical umpire.
That tropical empire.
Whatever. Suddenly, his keen ears picked up the sound of a lady in distress.
Lady in distress. George, go.
Little did George know it was all a dastardly trick.
Help! Murder! Police!
This has been a recorded message.
Hey, listen. That's George now.
How can ye tell?
Call it a lucky guess. Is the trap ready?
Ha ha! Ready, Sheedy Tiger.
All right. Now. You left the back open. When will you learn to keep your trap shut? We're safe, Weevil. He's out cold.
What, that?
I say we're safe. You're out.
Now that tropical umpire.
Within minutes, the ape-man was loaded onto a bamboo pole and on his way to the coast.
Not fair to take George out of jungle. Jungle is George's element.
And speaking of elements, there he was, trusting faithful Shep.
That's elephant, not element.
Well, it's too late now.
Had a good doggy, Shep. Sick 'em, boy.
Faster, Weevil. He's gaining on us. No!
So once again, we see that dog is man's best friend.
If he weighs 3,000 pounds, he'd better be.
But undaunted, the wily duo were still determined to capture the noble jungle lord.
You bet your goony bird we are.
Be this here pit deep enough now, Tiger?
Yes. Let's cover it up, and I'll put the record on.
Once again lured by the false distress cry, George dashed toward the concealed pit. But just before George set foot on the trap...
Oh, a lion! Run! This way! No, not this way!
Oh, hi, Leon. Long time no see.
Crikey! Even the lions be on his side.
Leon owed George favor. George once took thorn from his paw. Right, Leon?
A fierce African storm raged all that night, and by dawn had poured down enough water to float the two villains out of their pit.
I've been treading water so long, I've got webbed feet. How about you, Weevil?
But 10,000 clams is 10,000 clams, and that very afternoon found the blackguards skulking beneath George's treehouse.
George, how can you be so sure that Tiger and Weevil have gone?
George, see no weevil, hear no weevil, speak no weevil.
He's disappeared.
I don't blame him.
You beasts, what did you do?
We came, we sawed, we conked him. Let's make tracks, Weevil.
And so it appeared that the villains finally had George in their oily clutch.
Ape, we must do something.
I should think so. That hole makes a frightful draught.
Things look dark for our hero.
That much better. Now George called for help from animal friends.
What be that?
You see, any minute now, Wiggy, the rhinoceros, come to rescue.
Sure enough, the bushes at the side of the road parted, and there came charging out of them not a rhino, but a giant man-eating mulberry bush.
See more. How about that? George called for Wiggy, get Twiggy.
The fierce plant set to work and demolished the villain's jeep. Then it demolished the villain.
We give up. Even the ready plants are on your side.
Sure. Seymour owed George favor.
You mean?
Yes. George once took paw from his thorn.
So the villains had to depart empty-handed. And now we shall never know whether George could actually do a triple somersault into a damp hanky.
The answer is no. What? You mean you've really captured a Chi-Chi dog?
Yes, Commissioner. Took 18 months. But here it is, the rarest dog in the world, the Chi-Chi dog.
But it pains me to tell you, Sir Alfred, but what you have there is a giant flea.
Nonsense. Sit up, boy. Speak. Now, what do you think?
I think you have a flea that sits up and barks.
But we can't go back to England with a flea. We'd be the laughingstock of the Puddlemore Pooch and Puppy Club.
Well, there's only one person who can help you, Sir Alfred, and here he comes. George of the Jungle.
But why him?
It's his show.
Oh, dear.
George, this is the fabulously wealthy Sir Alfred Canine and the Lady Claudia.
She did?
They'll pay $50,000 if you can track down a rare Chi-Chi dog.
Okay. George called Faithful Shep.
A Shep?
George's personal bloodhound. Very good tracker.
Splendid idea.
Hey, Shep. Shep, like you. Good sign.
I'm so glad.
Isn't he a little big for a bloodhound?
Soon the hunting party was ready to go.
All set?
Of course, old boy. Go right ahead.
You not coming?
Wouldn't do at all, my good man. It's tea time.
True. Then George go.
Tea, Alfred.
One moment. Now.
Well, let's get busy, Merv.
Like, doing what, Doc?
You heard them. That Chi-Chi dog is worth 50 grand. Only one thing I gotta know first.
What?
What the heck is a Chi-Chi dog?
Meanwhile, George and his friend Ape were on the trail, led by the sensitive sniffer of Faithful Shep. Suddenly...
I think he spotted something, George.
Either that or I got mighty sick bloodhound on my hands. George, go see. George got him. Heel, Chi-Chi dog. Heel. Pretty feisty, these Chi-Chi dogs.
George, that's a gorilla. Put it back.
Oh. Sorry, Kerchak. Put her there. Well, he put her somewhere.
Meanwhile, in the Bumbashuti Public Library...
Here it is. The Chi-Chi dog.
It's gorgeous. How do we catch it?
It says here, there is one thing a Chi-Chi dog cannot resist. Another Chi-Chi dog.
Where are we going to get another Chi-Chi dog?
You are looking at him.
And on the other side of the jungle...
This Chi-Chi dog?
That, George, is more of a crocodile.
Thought it looked like crocodile. But you know how sneaky they are.
Well, how do I look?
It's you. It's you.
Yeah, I am kind of irresistible at that. Arf, arf.
Arf, arf?
It's the call of the Chi-Chi dog. Get the net and let's go.
Chi-Chi dog?
Hippopotamus, George.
Good. These things hard to housebreak. Arf, 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 arf. Arf, arf, arf.
George, I think Shep has a live one.
When Shep make point, George, get it. Arf, 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 arf.
I think you lucked out, Doc. Got him. We got the Chi-Chi.
That ain't no Chi-Chi, that's a yo-yo.
Huh?
We got George of the jungle. Let's split.
But it was too late.
Hey, Chi-Chi. Hey, Chi-Chi dog.
My horoscope said something like this might happen today, but I didn't believe it.
So shortly in the canine hunting camp.
By Godfrey, he's done it. He's captured a Chi-Chi dog.
Get your hands off of me, you big goof.
A talking Chi-Chi dog.
Don't be ridiculous, lady. I am just a simple country witch doctor.
Then why the strange costume?
It's part of my bedside manner. My patients demand it. Silly, I know. But if it makes one sick little kitty feel better...
Yes, very commendable. Well, I guess we'll go home without a Chi-Chi dog.
We do have a giant flea, Alfred.
And wouldn't you just know it, in response to the flea's arf arf, a real Chi-Chi dog walked into the clearing.
They know each other.
Of course. I see it now. Living with us, that flea has become rich and pampered.
You mean?
Yes. He's now rich enough to afford his own dog.
But how about George's reward?
Impossible, old boy. Everybody knows that dogs are attracted to fleas naturally. No reward.
Oh. Well, no hard feelings. George now give going away present. Genuine crocodile handbag.
How sweet.
You mean after they cheated you, you gave them a crocodile handbag?
Sure. Look. All they got to do is take crocodile out of it.
You know, Georgie boy, sometimes I think you're not as dumb as I think you are.
Me too.
As our story opens today, George is preparing to swing through the jungle, while at point-blank range, a hunter is ready to shoot him.
Remember now, not too fast.
Okay.
Ready, aim.
Wait! Maybe we better begin a little earlier.
Fine with George.
It really all started here in Syncopated Manor, home of the eccentric Duke of Ellington, world-renowned big game hunter.
That does it, dear. With this Tasmanian aardvark, I now have a trophy head of every known animal in the world.
Then why so sad, Piggy?
What do I do for an encore?
Oh, cheer up, dear. Here's one specimen you don't have. An ape man.
But that is George of the jungle.
Exactly. I think there's room for him over the fireplace. For his head, anyway.
Oh, Cynthia, you are clever.
So within a fortnight, whatever that is, the headhunters were within a stone's throw of George's treetop retreat.
Oh!
Somebody within stone's throw again.
Yes, maybe friendly natives.
I don't think they're natives.
Not very friendly, too.
You missed him, Piggy.
Yes, I must find some way to lure him within gunshot.
Why not take something he values highly and use it as bait?
Exactly. But what?
I don't know. Why not take it all?
And so the next day...
There. That's the lot.
One of these awful-looking things must be what he treasures most.
George, someone has ransacked the place. Everything's gone.
Hey, you know, it looked more roomy this way.
But they've taken Ursula, your beloved mate.
In jungle, broken heart heal quickly.
They've even taken your autographed picture of Lawrence Welk.
My hero. They really know how to hurt a guy. George, get mad.
Steady, George.
George, take jungle vengeance.
Aided by his jungle cunning, George found the culprits in a remarkably short time.
Ah, there you are.
Evil hunter, give back Lawrence. Also, him.
Now's your chance, Piggy. Pull the triggy.
Part a sitting bird. Can't be done, Cynthia. I tell you what, old boy. You let me take 3 shots at you, on the wing, as it were, and you can have everything back again.
What keep George from taking it now?
One false step, and I blow it to Flindo.
No, you got deal.
Don't, George. That's the Duke of Ellington. He wants your head for his trophy room.
My head? Stuffing nonsense.
Nonsense, no. Stuffed, yes.
George, this is madness.
True. Would make exciting plot for story, though.
Who'd believe it?
Ready?
Ready?
And this is where we came in. The Duke took dead aim, but at the last instant, fortunately, George had run into a thorn bush and was safe.
Some kind of safe.
The shot, however, shattered a tree branch which fell on the Duke.
That one.
This time, George, I want you to run past as quickly as you can.
He looks pretty fast, Piggy.
Nobody's faster than a slug from a 50 caliber elephant gun, Cynthia. All right, George, go.
And the fleet-footed ape-man dashed through the tall grass as the itchy-fingered Duke drew a bead on him. Then, as he emerged from a clump of wait-a-bit bush,
he outran a 50 caliber slug. That's impossible.
Nothing impossible when you're chased by angry rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros? What rhinoceros?
That rhinoceros.
That too.
But there was still one shot to go, and the desperate Duke was not above cheating just a smidge.
Exactly. Cynthia, hand me my bazooka.
An anti-tank rocket? Oh, Piggy, do you think you should?
I'll try not to damage the head.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
For his last shot, the Duke poised George at the top of Blind Man's Bluff.
Now you dive 1,000 feet into the roaring cataract.
What cataract? This dry season.
Then I suggest you perspire a great deal on the way down.
No, George, you'll be killed.
Maybe George get lucky.
How?
Maybe he shoot me before I hit bottom.
You see, dear, I can't lose.
And the Jungle Lord stepped forward to begin his fatal dive. But the rocks that held the board were loose, and the explosive shell missed George and struck the bottom of the gourd, releasing an underground geyser of hot water. The geyser met George halfway. Again, the ape-man was safe.
In boiling water? Some kind of safe.
A geyser. Now, how often would a thing like that happen?
Oh, it happens here every time a writer gets stuck for an ending.
That 3. Now, George, take back precious possessions. Better take care of that cold fella. Can't understand the word you say.
Then you must return empty-handed, Your Grace.
Exactly.
I think I have an idea. How about...
Capital idea. Wizard, I'll do it.
And so, a short time later, back in syncopated manner...
There's my last trophy, dear. A perfect duplicate of George's head.
But, Piggy, that's just an odd-shaped lump of solid marble.
Exactly.
To a jungle lord, there are few things more irritating than getting an arrow right through your classified section.
A poisoned arrow.
With a note attached.
This is your last warning.
Last warning? George never got first warning.
Disregard previous arrow. This is your first warning.
More like it.
Get off my property. Kindest regards, Jerry Mander.
Who gerrymander?
Glad you asked. Glad you asked. That's me, folks, is gerrymander, subdivider, and general contractor. My card. Gonna carve a civilization in the wilderness. Bowling alley, pizza parlor, the whole schmear. Gonna call it Tsitsi City.
George not understand.
That's why I brought my lawyer. Explain it to him, Manny.
Magalumba nakanumba kukamanga tijuana tohonga.
What that mean?
Well, cutting through the legal jargon, George, it means we're evicted, thrown out.
Not possible.
Oh, yes, possible. You see, it says so right here in the writ of mandamus habeas corpus certiorari and Rosie O'Grady. Don't try to read the fine print. You'll ruin that keen jungle eyesight.
George, I'm afraid we have been ipsoed and factoed.
Now hurry, folks. You've got till sundown to clear out. Gosh, how time flies when you're having fun. Okay, bulldozers, you're on.
George, look, a whole fleet of bulldozers.
Well, there goes the neighborhood.
George, stop, bulldozer, or no reason why. That's pretty good reason.
Soon much of the fertile Mbwibwi Valley was cleared of its dense foliage, and in its place, houses began springing up like mushrooms.
Now, if I could only get them to start springing up like houses. A little joke there.
But mighty George wasn't going to take this lying down.
You're going to drive the interloper from our valley?
Drive nothing. George make him walk.
Good for you, George.
Oh, my, I do hope his splints hold.
Now, let me get this straight, Georgie. You're challenging me, gerrymander, to a duel.
Right.
And I get to choose the weapons?
Right.
Okay. I choose shovels at 10 paces.
Shovels? Pretty silly duel, but okay. George, get shovel and... Hey, what's up?
You are, Georgie boy.
Put George down.
Well, if you insist. Okay, let's roll those cement tracks. Roll them, roll them, roll them.
George, the freeway's going right past our house.
Going fast, it's going through.
That does it. George, put foot down.
A few minutes later, George was swinging on his way to try again to bring peace and harmony to Mbwibwi Valley. Suddenly, he made a shocking discovery.
Number 38 crosstown vine missing.
I took it down. It interfered with the TV reception.
You really asking for trouble, fella. Okay.
What's that?
George, call for rhinoceros herd. Come trample whole building development to ground.
Surely you jest. There's not a rhinoceros within 50 miles.
Make no never mind. Rhinos got keen sense of hearing. But terrible sense of direction.
As a last resort, the intrepid ape-man dropped in on the Bombashooty witch doctor.
Yes, yes, my good man. What is it? What is it?
Witch doctor voice sound funny.
Well, you got kind of an adenoid problem yourself, booby. What's it gonna be?
Need spell to make evil builder, gerrymander, go away.
No problem at all. First, let me scatter these feathers to the winds.
Part of secret ritual, huh?
What secret ritual? I was plucking a chicken when you arrived. Now, here you are. Just take this juju box of the powerful spirit, Tiniti.
Tiniti?
Yeah, his name is right on the side.
Oh, sure. Tiniti.
Now, just close your little eyes. Lie down here. There. All comfy?
Rope's a little tight, Doctor.
Not for long. Now, just say whatever comes into your mind. Nothing there, eh? Well, don't worry. There's lots of time.
And the couch holding George and the TNT rose into the air and disappeared from sight.
Well, that's that. Thanks for the use of your office, Doc. You're so right. Now to cut the ribbon on the Tsitsi City supermarket.
But at that moment, George and the TNT dropped into the deep waters back of nearby Mbwibwi Dam. A moment later, the couch bobbed to the surface.
Uh-oh. George dropped Tiniti juju box.
The explosion blew apart the dam, causing the entire housing development to be washed away in the flood.
When they need, they make juju. He make juju.
And so, the threat of civilization a thing of the past, George returned to his carefree, if slightly soggy, way of life.
What's that on the end of your line, George?
Evil builder, gerrymander.
You're fishing for gerrymander?
Not fishing for him. Use him for bait.
Ow! Ooh, ooh! Watch the teeth, fella! Watch the teeth! Ooh, 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 ooh!
Yes, George? I, Seymour Nudnik, world's richest tycoon, will give you $5 gazillion if you will sell me Mwebwe province.
$5 gazillion?
Price is right. Why world's richest typhoon want Mwebwe province?
Tycoon. Because the Mwebwe is loaded with a rare metal, what you call him. I want to dig it all up.
But what about jungle, forest, stream, open range, where deer and antelope play?
Oh, all that has to go, of course.
I think I just heard a discouraging word.
Then as long as George, king of jungle, it no sale.
Good for you, George.
Bad for you, George, because by this time next week, you won't be king of the jungle.
And the very next day...
Hey, that's Seymour Nudnik, world's richest typhoon.
Tycoon. No, this is Seymour Nudnik, king of the jungle.
Little pot-bellied man blown his mind. You can't be king of jungle.
Why not?
Got no muscles.
I got something better than muscles. Money.
And so, for the first time in his career, George faced competition in being king of the jungle.
Look, folks, George battle fierce lion. Take that. And that. Now, Nairobi, knee drop. Give up. Yay! Let's see you battle lion.
Sure enough, Sonny.
Yay! Seymour got special punch.
No. Frankly, I paid him to take a dive.
Leon. But George still #1 in hearts of peaceful villagers.
Vote for Seymour Nudnik for king of the jungle, folks. I promise you 2 cars in every garage and 2 missionaries in every pot.
Yay, Seymour!
George, this means real trouble. If there were an election for king of the jungle tomorrow, you'd lose.
Thank goodness, no chance of that.
Heard about the election tomorrow, George?
Election tomorrow, Commissioner.
We haven't had one for donkey's years. Mr. Nudnik's idea, really. Splendid chap, generous to a fault.
How Commissioner know that?
He gave me this Rolls Badley limousine. Can't think why. Some nonsense about what you call him. Home, James.
This is terrible.
Ape, not worry. George have secret weapon.
George, you must challenge Seymour before tomorrow's election.
Better yet, George challenge Seymour before election.
Perhaps that would be better.
Seymour Nudnik, George challenge you.
Ooh. Certainly, young fellow. To what?
How about who can swing through trees best?
Oh, very well.
Watch. How about this? No hands.
My way is faster and safer.
How come you no hit trees like George?
Built-in radar. Cost 200 thou. Worth every penny.
Yay, Seymour!
What next, nature boy?
Over there, rogue elephant running amok, destroying native village. George subdue him with jungle judo throw, like... something like that.
My turn now. All right, Luella, do your stuff.
And a gorgeous female elephant approached the angry rogue. Smitten with her fatal beauty, he left the village peacefully.
Where Seymour get beautiful girl elephant?
She's not real, George. She's a specially built model elephant. Costs 300 G's. But when one of my villages is at stake, hang the expense.
Yay! Last challenge. Animal calling. You pick animal.
Sure thing. I choose hippos.
Hot ziggies, George's favorite call. You first.
Okay. Calling all hippos. Calling all hippos. Come in, hippos.
Oh. What kind of hippo call that?
A pretty good one, actually, for unethical Seymour Nudnik had already stationed hundreds and dozens of hippos all around the province. And at his command, they were released and driven toward the clearing.
George, we're up to our expectations in hippos.
But see what happened when George called.
Are you sure you know the right call, George?
Sure, Mike. Hippo call go.
Sure enough, there was a crackling noise in the bushes, and there emerged a host of the oddest-looking people. Long hair, freaky clothes, throwing flowers.
And what are they saying?
Love, 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 love.
Yeah. George, you didn't call the hippos. You called the hippies.
Yeah.
Well, George, I guess you lose.
No. Now we have election.
What?
Well, the results were obvious. The hippie vote went solidly for George.
The winner, and still the king of the jungle, George.
Yeah.
You voted for George because he's the good guy. Loves animals and flowers.
No, man, because George swings.
Yeah.
So Seymour Nudnik left Africa, and George was reinstated as monarch of all he surveyed.
Told you George had secret weapon.
Secret weapon? What was it, George?
Dumb luck.